There are moments in life when it looks like it's over. The relationship didn't work out. The business went under. The doctor said there's no way out. Or the door you were counting on suddenly closed. You prayed, you believed, you gave it your best. But now it seems like the story is finished. But can I tell you something today? It's not over until God says it's over. People don't have the final say. Circumstances don't have the final say. The enemy doesn't have the final say. The author and finisher of your faith, he has the final word over your life. And as long as God is still on the throne, your story is not finished. So don't hang your head in defeat. Don't settle in disappointment. God is still writing your story, and he's not done with you. There are moments in life when you look around and it feels like nothing is moving, nothing is changing. Everything you've been praying for seems so far away. You've done your best, you've stayed faithful, you've trusted God, and yet the situation looks exactly the same. The enemy starts whispering, "See, it's not going to happen. If it were meant to be, it would have happened by now. You've missed your moment." But you have to remember, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. God's delay is not God's denial. God's timing is perfect. He sees the beginning and the end all at once. While we live in one moment at a time, God is already in tomorrow, working out the details of what concerns you. What you see is a delay. God sees as development. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing you. He's not withholding the blessing. He's strengthening the foundation so you can handle it when it comes. Sometimes God will intentionally delay something because he knows if he gave it to you right now, you wouldn't be ready for it. There are dreams you've prayed for, things you believed would happen. But if God opened that door too soon, it might crush you instead of bless you. The delay is not there to discourage you. It's there to equip you. Think about a seed planted in the soil. Once it's buried, it looks like nothing is happening. Days pass, weeks pass, and there's still no sign of them. But under the ground, the seed is breaking open. Roots are growing. Foundations are forming. The fact that you can't see progress doesn't mean growth isn't taking place. In the same way, you may not see what God is doing right now, but that doesn't mean he's not working. Beneath the surface of your situation, God is orchestrating things you can't even imagine. When Lazarus died, his sisters Martha and Mary sent word to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, our brother wouldn't have died." In their minds, the story was over. Jesus arrived 4 days later, too late by human standards, but right on time by heaven's clock. He told them, "Didn't I tell you that if you believe you would see the glory of God?" And he called Lazarus out of the tomb, and the man who was dead came walking out alive. God could have healed Lazarus before he died, but he chose to wait until it looked impossible. Why? Because he wanted everyone to know that what looks too late for man is never too late for God. Sometimes God allows something to look completely dead, just so that when he resurrects it, no one can deny that it was his power that did it. Maybe you're looking at a situation that appears lifeless. Your business failed, your marriage ended, your dream seems long gone, but you need to remind yourself, God can breathe life back into what looks finished. He can open doors that no man can shut. He can bring opportunities back around that you thought were lost forever. Don't give up because the timing doesn't make sense. God's calendar is not your calendar. His ways are higher, his thoughts are greater, and his process is often slower than our preference. But what he's building in you during the waiting season is far more important than what you're waiting for. Sometimes the waiting season is where the greatest miracles are born. It's in that space of silence that God is shaping your character, building your endurance, and teaching you to trust Him without needing to see the outcome. Faith isn't believing when everything makes sense. Faith is believing when nothing does. Abraham waited 25 years for the promise of a son. Joseph waited more than a decade to step into the dream God gave him. David waited years between being anointed king and actually sitting on the throne. These weren't wasted years. They were training years. God was molding them in private so that when their public moment came, they would be ready. If God made you a promise, He's still alive. It doesn't matter how much time has passed or how impossible it looks. What God spoke over your life will come to pass. His word does not return void. You may be in a season where everything looks delayed, but delay is not defeat. Don't let impatience make you give up on something that God is still preparing. Too many people walk away from their miracle right before it's about to happen. They say, "It's taking too long," and they settle for less than what God intended. Don't make that mistake. Your waiting is not wasted. Every second is building your faith, strengthening your trust, and preparing your heart for what's ahead. There's something powerful that happens when you refuse to give up in the delay. When you say, "God, I don't understand it, but I trust you anyway." That's when heaven starts to move. That's when you position yourself for favor. You didn't earn blessings you didn't expect and breakthroughs you couldn't have orchestrated. You may not be where you want to be yet, but that doesn't mean you're not on your way. Every step of obedience, every act of faith, every moment of patience is leading you closer to what God promised. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, God is working behind the scenes, aligning people, shifting circumstances, and preparing the blessing with your name on it. You might think you've missed your moment, but with God, no moment is ever missed. He can restore lost time, redeem missed opportunities, and accelerate your destiny in ways you never imagined. One touch of His favor can make up for years of waiting. One open door can erase decades of disappointment. So instead of getting frustrated in the delay, start thanking God in advance. Thank Him that He's working even when you can't see it. Thank Him that His plans are bigger than your timetable. Thank Him that He's faithful to complete what He started. Gratitude keeps your faith alive. It reminds your heart that even when it feels silent, God's hand is still moving. Think about the story of Sarah, Abraham's wife. She laughed when God said she would have a child in her old age. It seemed ridiculous. She was far past the age of childbirth. But God didn't take her laughter as unbelief. He took it as humanity, and He still fulfilled His promise. Isaac was born, and Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter." What started in disbelief ended in joy. Maybe your faith has grown tired. Maybe you've been waiting for so long that hope feels like a burden. But hear this, God hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't changed His mind about you. He's not withholding His promise. He's ensuring that when it comes, it will last. There's a big difference between something built fast and something built to last. Fast things often crumble under pressure. Lasting things take time to form. When God delays something, it's because He's making sure it's strong enough to withstand the weight of His blessing. The truth is, what's coming will be worth the wait. You'll look back one day and say, "Now I understand why it took so long." You'll see how every closed door, every setback, every delay was setting the stage for something far greater. When Lazarus walked out of that tomb, everyone who had doubted was in awe. God hid it from them on purpose. Joseph had a dream that one day he would rise to a position of great influence. But when he shared that dream, his own brothers became jealous and sold him into slavery. From the outside, it looked like Joseph's life was over. But even in the pit, even in prison, God's hand was still on him. Every betrayal, accusation, every delay, it was all leading him toward the palace. If Joseph had believed his brother's words, he would have given up. If he had accepted their rejection as truth, he would have missed the fulfillment of his destiny. But Joseph understood that people's opinions couldn't stop God's plan. God turned for good. Maybe someone has rejected you, betrayed you, or said you'll never amount to much. Maybe you've been looked down on because of where you came from, what you've done or what you don't have. But remember, you don't need their approval when you already have God's anointing. He saw every tear, every act of faith, every time you kept doing the right thing, even when no one noticed. And in His timing, He will reward you in front of those who doubted you. Don't let people's rejection make you question your worth. Don't let their opinions dictate your direction. What God has destined for you will come to pass no matter who walks away. Sometimes their leaving is actually a blessing in disguise. God will remove people from your life who can't handle your next level. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you. When Jesus was on His way to heal Jairus' daughter, people came and said, "Don't bother the teacher anymore. Your daughter is dead." They thought the situation was hope. But Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. Just believe." He walked into that house, put everyone who doubted out of the room and spoke life into the girl. That's what you have to do sometimes. Remove the doubters. You can't let everyone speak into your life. Some people don't have the faith to go where God is taking you. Surround yourself with voices that build your faith, not those that feed your fear. The truth is, people can label you. They can call you a broken, and God calls you a healed. They can call you unqualified, and God calls you a chosen. They can call you a too late, and God calls you a right on time. The names people give you don't stick when God has spoken a greater word over you. Even Jesus faced rejection. The Bible says He couldn't perform many miracles in His hometown because of their unbelief. They said, "It's the carpenter's son." Who he really was, because they were too familiar with his past. But Jesus didn't. There comes a time in life when it feels like something precious has ended. A relationship you value, a job you depended on, a dream you once held so tightly. You look around and all you see are the pieces of what used to be. The enemy whispers it's over. You fly. You'll never recover from this. But the truth is, with God, nothing is ever truly over. What looks like an ending to you is often a setup for a brand new beginning. God is a God of resurrection, renewal, and restoration. He never ends something without the intention of birthing something better. The moment one chapter closes, He's already writing the next one. What you see as a finish line, He sees as a doorway into something greater. Think about Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him, threw him into a pit, and sold him into slavery. Then, just when things started to look better, he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. From the outside, it looked like Joseph's story was over. But each of those endings, the pit, the betrayal, the prison, was leading him to the palace. God used what others meant for harm, turned it into the very path that led to Joseph's promotion. You may feel you're in that same place right now. You've done everything right, and still things have fallen apart. You've been faithful, but all you see are endings. Yet behind those closed doors, God, He's preparing something greater than you could ever imagine. What you've lost doesn't surprise God. He already knew it was coming, and He's already prepared a comeback. When you trust Him, your loss is never wasted. It becomes the seed for your next season. Every tear you've cried, every disappointment you've faced, every heartbreak you've endured, it all becomes part of the soil God uses to grow something beautiful. There are seasons in life that look like death, but they're really seasons of transition. In nature, winter looks barren. The trees are stripped, the flowers are gone, and the world seems lifeless. But under the surface, life is still moving. Roots are deepening, seeds are developing, and the earth is preparing for spring. Likewise, your winter season may feel empty, but it's just preparation for the ass planned for you. You might not see it now, but God is doing something new. Isaiah 43:19 says, See, I am doing a new thing. Now springs up. Do you not perceive it? Notice God says He's doing a new thing. Sometimes God has to end something that's comfortable so He can bring you into something that's better. Better. You can't embrace the new if you're still holding on to the old. When the Israelites were in Egypt, they had been in slavery for 400 years. When God finally brought them out, they had to walk away from everything familiar. It was uncomfortable, uncertain, and scary, but it was the only way to reach the promised land. If they had stayed in Egypt, they would have missed the miracle. In the same way, God might be asking you to let go of something that's over, not because He's punishing you, but because He's preparing you. Sometimes He closes a door, not because He's rejecting you, but because He's redirecting you. He knows what's ahead, and He knows that what's coming is far better than what you're leaving behind. When Naomi lost her husband and sons, she thought her life was over. She even changed her name to Amara, which means bitter, saying, the Lord has dealt harshly with me. But what she didn't realize was that God was about to give her a new beginning through Ruth, a young woman who would become the great-grandmother of King David and part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. What Naomi thought was an ending became one of the greatest new beginnings in history. Don't judge your story too soon. Just because this chapter looks dark doesn't mean the book ends in defeat. God is the master author, and He knows how to write beauty into every broken place. When He rewrites your story, He takes the ashes of your pain and turns them into something glorious. Maybe you've lost something significant, a dream, a person, a sense of purpose, and it feels like nothing good could ever come from it. But God is saying, trust me, I'm not finished yet. He's the only one who can take what the enemy meant for evil and turn it for your good. He can take the mess of your past and use it as the message of your future. You might be standing at the end of something today, but that's not where your story ends. God's word says He makes all things, not a few things, but all things. That means your broken heart, your missed opportunities, your failure. He can take it all and make it new again. If you could see what God has planned, you'd stop mourning over what you lost and start praising Him for what's coming. You'd stop asking, why did that end? Death. And start saying, God, thank you that you're leading me into something greater. When the disciples watched Jesus die on the cross, they thought it was over. The one they followed was gone. Hope seemed lost. Was just what looked like the darkest moment in history became the greatest victory of all time. That's what God does. He turns crucifixions into resurrections. He turns endings into new beginnings. He turns mourning into dancing and despair into destiny. Maybe you've been through a painful ending, a door that slammed shut, a person who walked away, a dream that dissolved. But don't lose heart. That ending was not your undoing. It was your unveiling. God is about to reveal a new chapter, one filled with joy, peace, and purpose. When you surrender your endings to God, you make room for Him to write something better. You give Him permission to transform your pain into purpose and your loss into legacy. What feels like the end of your story is simply the point where God picks up the pen. So stop focusing on what ended. Stop replaying what went wrong. Start thanking God for what's about to begin. Every time something ends in your life, it's a signal that God is about to do something new. Don't let the ending define you. Let it teach you, strengthen you, and prepare you for what's next. Because when God restores, He never brings you back to where you were. He always takes you higher. Job lost everything. His wealth, his children, his health. It looked completely over. But in the end, God gave him double for his trouble. That's how your God works. He doesn't just replace, He multiplies. You may not understand everything you're walking through right now, but one day, you'll look back and realize every ending was a divine setup for something greater. Every detour, every disappointment, every delay was leading you exactly where you needed to be. So lift your head, wipe away your tears, and dare to believe again. Your ending is not the end. It's the beginning of something new, something beautiful, something only God could bring to pass. He hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't abandoned you. The author of your story is still writing, and He never leaves a story unfinished. When God says it's not over, you can rest assured your best days are still ahead of you. Remember this, God can take the ashes of what you thought was over and turn them into the foundation of your greatest blessing. He can turn pain into purpose, loss into legacy, and endings into brand new beginnings. Because with God, it's not over until He says it's over. Maybe today you're standing in a place that feels final. You've done all you can, prayed every prayer you know, and yet things seem stuck, silent, or broken beyond repair. You look at your situation and think, this is it. It's over. But God is saying to you today, it's not over until I say it's over. You might have reached your limit, but God hasn't reached you. You may be out of strength, but He's never out of power. When the odds are stacked against you, when the door seems shut, when the world says it's finished, that's when God steps in and shows Himself strong. All through the Bible, God's people faced moments that looked impossible. Joseph was in a prison before the palace. Daniel was surrounded by lions before he was promoted. The Israelites stood at the Red Sea with nowhere to go. And that's when God split the waters. When everything looks like it's over, God calls that a perfect setup. You see, if it ended when you thought it would, you wouldn't see God's hand. If it happened on your timeline, you wouldn't see His glory. But the delay, the setback, the disappointment, they're all a part of His divine design. What looks like the end is really the beginning of something miraculous. The same God who brought Lazarus out of the tomb can bring your dream back to life. The same God who raised Jesus from the grave can resurrect what you thought was gone. He's not intimidated by the odds, the diagnosis, the loss, or the closed doors. He's the God who specializes in impossible situations. So if you're facing something today that feels over, a dream, a promise, a season, don't bury it yet. Don't give up. Don't settle for defeat. You serve a God who brings beauty from ashes, joy from mourning, and purpose from pain. Your story's not finished. The author of your life is still holding the pen. And He doesn't write endings in defeat, He writes them in victory. Keep believing, keep standing, keep trusting. Because what God started in your life, He will complete. The same hand that opened the door before can open it again. The same power that lifted you up once can lift you even higher. No matter what it looks like, no matter what anyone has said, no matter how it's been. Remember this, it's not over until God says it's over. And when He says it's over, it's only because He's getting ready to start something greater.